My name's Sean Hodkin. I'm a tennis player from Scunthorpe, and this is my journey on the lower end of professional tennis. Join me and see what's possible. Okay, so we're up and we are still pretty knackered from the flight. It is 9:30 and so back home that's like 6:30 and we're already late. So we're gonna head to breakfast and then head to the tennis. Two omelets, too good. You know, just like it in general. So we just got to the tennis. We're gonna do a little warm up, a little fiscale, and then get into the session. So this is the time to put the real work in. It's pre-season. No events coming up for a while, so this means I can push myself as hard as I want on court and off court. Now, a lot of players don't actually like doing work in threes, but I actually think it's a great thing to do. The person on their own gets to push themselves as hard as they want and work on something specific, while the two have an active recovery. So the thing that I was working on was trying to take the ball as early as I could. So I was sticking to the baseline. I was keeping my swings a little bit shorter, just trying to guarantee a really strong contact on the ball. I actually asked David and Giles to play with a little bit more tempo to try and test me and to also move me occasionally. I feel like working to take time away is such a good habit to get into. It just allows you to catch your opponent off guard a little bit, keep them off balance, and it also allows you to play with a little bit more margin, so you don't have to hit the ball harder and you don't have to go as close to the lines. You'll see that so many of the top tennis players in the world are doing this at the minute, especially the ones in the top 10. You might also notice that I am including quite a lot of the balls that I'm missing in this practice. And there's a reason for that. I just want to show people that pros do miss balls. I mean, ideally we don't want to, but if anyone's out there thinking they have to play the perfect tennis all the time, it's not really true. It's more about how you react to the misses and how you deal with certain situations. And these drills are so good because they don't really give you time to react in a negative way. As soon as you miss, the ball is just fed straight back in and then you're straight back on it. So it's almost conditioning your mindset not to even think about the misses. Another thing that you'll probably notice is how many balls I'm hitting off my left leg. For me, getting on the front foot is pretty vital, not just for taking time away, but also just being able to fully commit to the shot. It allows you to get all of your body weight through the ball and transitioning into the court, which in turn also makes moving to the net easier. I remember when I hit with Djokovic at Wimbledon in 2022 and this year, it was something that he was doing all the time. And obviously there's going to be times where you do have to hit off your right leg, the ball's going to come deeper or it's going to be further out to the side like that. But I think it's just keeping in mind the intention to move forward. I've had a lot of questions from people about how do you stay relaxed with your arm, and obviously there's some mindset stuff that you can do to feel more relaxed, etc. But something that really helps is actually keeping your feet moving and keeping your full body engaged. This will also naturally loosen up your arm. So we did quite a few rotations of this sort of stuff. Obviously, Giles and David were working on slightly different things. But typically this is how I like to structure my training in the morning, doing a lot of physical work, a lot of volume, and then in the afternoon I like to play a lot of points. I feel like all these drills really help you to zone in before you play the points. I actually feel that recently my volleys have drastically improved. I've been doing a lot more work on them than I ever have. If you saw in my previous video, Go Hard or Go Home, there were a lot of really good drills that I was doing at the net. But basically all I've been working on is trying to stop the racket on contact and move through the ball, not trying to manipulate the ball too much or chop at it. Similar to the ground strokes, just letting my feet do the work. I was always told that the simpler the volley, the better, which is hard because I think we all know the feeling when a ball comes in, it's slightly floated and there's the temptation to take a bit more of a swing at it. But yeah, less of a swing, the better. And I'd say don't just practice your volleys stood at the net. You can only get so good by doing that. The vast majority of volleys you'll hit will be transitioning to the net and probably around the service box. So I actually like to warm up my volleys pretty close to the net in the wall position, spend a few minutes doing that until I get a feel for it, and then I'll move a little bit further back to the service line and just work on taking 1 or 2 steps through the ball, just moving onto it each time. And then once I feel good doing that, then I'll move even further back behind the service line and work on my first volley. A typical rule I like to go with the first volley, if it's below the height of the net, I like to push it back behind the player, down the line, just because it means you're covering less angle for the next volley. And then anything above the height of the net, I like to cut away and go for a little bit more angle. I feel to be effective at the net, 1, it requires calmness, not panicking. 2, it requires tactical awareness, almost just having more of a plan. And then 3, I would say positioning. A lot of volleying is just good positioning. I'll be honest, this smashing practice was perfect. The ball was going in the sun literally every time, and I was pretty worried about hitting the camera. Okay, so moving on to the last segment of the morning session, condition points. I decided that for my turn on my own, I was going to do a set movement pattern and then they could feed the ball wherever they wanted. I am trying to work on my movement a lot at the minute, so any chance I get, I'll add some into a drill. I'm not actually sure what happened, but I did seem to injure my shoulder a little bit, just on the backhand side. So I was just trying to fight through that as best I could as well. It did feel very sore. So I can just remember whenever I was hitting a backhand, I was just trying to relax as much as I could, like no tension in my arm whatsoever. And after a pretty long session in the morning, I think we were going for around 2 hours at this point. It was starting to get quite physical. The conditions were pretty hot. I think it was around 25 degrees. Nothing crazy. I've definitely played in hotter conditions than this. I remember playing a match in Hungary last year, which I think the on-court temperature was about 41 degrees, and it was ridiculously humid. The thing that you have to keep in mind about pre-season is that you are going to be tired. And the thing that I've learned is not to worry too much about your level. As soon as you have a few days off, you rest, you'll be mentally fresh, and your level will be as it was or better, and you'll feel physically better too. If you've done your training right, your endurance will feel better, you'll feel fitter, quicker, and hopefully more robust and less prone to injury. I just remember at this point, I was almost hanging on for dear life. I needed that third coffee of the day more than ever. But I was enjoying the training and there was nowhere else I'd rather be than on court, just grinding it out. I found this venue really good to train in. There was nothing really going on that was going to distract us. So we could pretty much just play for 2.5 hours uninterrupted. Sometimes it's just nice to do the work and really get into it, really focus. Good sesh. Now it is time to go and get some nutrition and yeah, see what the boys are doing. Yeah.
No one wants to see that. We could do the first episode of the podcast over dinner.
Wouldn't be an episode of Sean Plays Tennis without a coffee, would it? Third of the day, needed more than ever.
It's got sauce as well. Look, that sauce.
Food here is just a joke, isn't it?
Absolutely delectable.
I mean, you can't get any cleaner than that, really, can you? Just chicken and rice. The coffee is also ridiculous.
Out of 10?
Straight 10. Has to be, yes. I really like my coffee, actually, very strong, quite bitter, so...
Like your women.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Do you need anything?
I think we're all okay. Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you say this drink was again?
Lemon and mint.
Yes.
Lemon.
Lime, lemon?
Yeah, it's got a lime on top. Yeah, just lime on the rim.
Who cares? It's ridiculous anyway.
Yeah.
It's like really refreshing kind of... What is it? What would you say it is? Like a...
How do you describe it? It's almost like a little bit like a mojito, but obviously without alcohol.
No alcohol, yeah.
No alcohol, yeah.
Yeah, it is good.
Virgin mojito.
So, just had lunch, and now it's time to head on for the second session of the day. I thought I'd just do a little quick kit review. Now, I've been training for about 2 hours in the morning, sweated a lot, it's very hot, and I was interested to see how well the Nordic Dots, I consider these like training tees, how well they were going to hold up in the heat, and they just dry like super quickly, so I'm like sweating loads, but then they're still very, very comfortable to wear. The sweat doesn't hold on the shirt for very long at all, so they're actually pretty perfect for like training hard, training in the heat. So I'm going to try out the match kit in a few days' time. I've actually attached a link in the description below to the Nordic Dots website. It's an affiliate link, so anything you order actually does help me out as well. But yeah, highly recommend it. I've been using them for about a month now, and yeah, really enjoying wearing the kit actually. They just sent me another kit drop, so I'll do a review of that very soon. So, it's the afternoon session, and I'm taking on Mr. David Quayle in a set. Probably the 5,000th time that we've actually played each other. And he's actually a very good person to practice with. One, because he cares and he will always be competitive. And the other, he never really drops his level. So you pretty much have to be on it the whole time that you're playing him. I think, especially in practice, I try not to view it as competing, although it definitely feels like that sometimes. What I'm trying to do is simply stick to my process. Things like always going after my first serve, sticking to patterns that suit me, on my own serve and return. I'm obviously not going to say what they are because people might have to play me who are watching these videos. People often ask me, how do you deal with nerves? And the thing that works for me, I would say, is putting my focus into my process. For me, nerves are a lack of focus in the right area. Some players might get to the point in a match where the scoreline makes them a little bit nervous, or something that their opponent is doing is distracting them, or there's some sort of external pressure off the court, either a parent or a money issue, that is pulling their focus away from tennis and just causing a little bit of panic. I've had a few of these issues myself, and don't get me wrong, I've made mistakes, I've panicked, I've lost my temper. But eventually I think I realised to not worry about things that I don't have control over, and to put my energy in something that I do have control over, which is my process and what I'm trying to do. And the only way to make your process better is sticking to it as much as you can, even when it feels really uncomfortable, even if you're super nervous. You have to think that if you practice it enough, eventually it will click. So recently I was spending time with one of the top coaches in the world, Dave Sammel. He's taken a lot of players to the top 100, including recently Liam Brody, and now he's coaching Kyle Edmund. And I asked him what turns good players into great players. And one of the answers he gave me was focus. So I can remember in this set, I went 3-love up. I was doing everything that I was practicing in the morning, trying to take it early, being aggressive. Until I got to 3-love, David played a few good points. I lost a little bit of focus on my own serve, got broke, and then all of a sudden was back at 3-all. And that's how fine the margins are at this level. You almost can't afford to dip mentally at any point, especially not the important points, the 30-alls, the 30-40s, juices. You have to be laser-like with your focus and know exactly what you're doing, know exactly which patterns work for you in those moments against the players that you're competing against. Which probably sounds pretty obvious, but for me, pro tennis is the basics done extremely well. So after getting broke and going back to 3-all, we locked in on serve until 6-all and then headed into a tie-break. And I think that even though me and David are in pretty good shape and we're used to putting in shifts, I think we were both struggling a little bit physically after doing such a long session in the morning, obviously flew a few days earlier. But again, I think that's where that level of focus comes in, not focusing on how tired you are or how much your muscles hurt, just the ability to block that out and almost just focus on what you're doing. And I was also still struggling with my shoulder a bit. But I thought I'll carry on, try and figure it out, because I know that I'm going to be in a competition at some point and something is going to hurt. So I need to be tough enough and need to be prepared to be able to deal with it. I just remember thinking in the tie-break, I'm just going to commit to moving forward as much as I can. I'm not going to be passive, I'm not going to go behind the baseline. I'm just going to try and move on to every ball. And if David can deal with that, then too good. So the set turned out to be very close. We managed to push through fatigue and still compete at a very high level of tennis. And to be honest, I think the level almost got better as we got more tired. The reason for that, we were probably more relaxed. So in the end, I ended up taking the set 7-6 and 7-5 in the breaker. But there was a lot that still needed work, particularly my forehand return and a few closing volleys when I was coming into the net. But we had another 8 days to work on all that. Okay, so that is the second session done. David, how did it go?
Oh, it was good, huh?
Yeah, decent.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing better than really just playing tennis out here. Like, it's like 20 degrees, would you say?
Yeah, maybe a bit more.
A bit more, a bit windy.
Get the muscles out.
Yeah. Flash them about a bit. David's having trouble with the gate. Nice.
Gate, you know. Tough.
After me, I insist. Yeah, so now we're going to go in the gym and possibly do like a little rehab session later, maybe. Bit of pool, bit of sauna action.
Pool, saunas, maybe a little ice bath.
Yeah.
Could be nice.
Yeah. Second coffee of the day. Actually, no, third.
Yeah.
Can't count.
Yeah, you're an addict.
I'm an addict. It's so good here, though. It's ridiculous. I'm going to get David on it soon.
Yeah,
David's going to have his first coffee out here.
A coffee drinker.
Yet.
More of a water guy.
Yeah. Yet. So, to be honest, I didn't really do much in the gym, just a bit of strengthening, a bit of mobility. I'm going to head back to the hotel gym now, and then going to do a run. So, yeah, trying to run about 5k a day. So, looking forward to that.
That's nice.
Oh, okay, they want it.
Oh, that's fine.
So I know this is Sean Plays Tennis and not Sean Travels the World, but I thought that this place was just too good not to show. The drive back to the hotel from the tennis was about 20 minutes, and along the way there were some absolutely stunning views. I mean, Bahrain just comes alive at night. Now, I've travelled to quite a lot of countries across the world, and I've been to a lot of different places, but I have to say that I think Bahrain is one of my favourite places that I've been. And also the people were super nice, really friendly, and actually very relaxed. So, if you're wondering why we're doing a pre-season in Bahrain, I'm very lucky that I have a very good friend of mine who works here, who managed to get funding from the Bahrain Tennis Federation to hold a pre-season out here. And in a few days' time, we were actually going to be training with some of the best players in Bahrain. So we were obviously looking forward to working with them, training with them, But I mean, we were just all really grateful for this opportunity to train in such a cool place with access to some amazing facilities and yeah, just being treated very well. And there's just no way that I would have been able to do this by myself. I wouldn't have been able to afford it. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity. And I feel like this is the perfect way to get me ready for the 2025 season, which, as I'm turning 26 now, it's now or never to do something. So, a little bit of traffic, but we got back to the hotel and it was time for me to jump straight back in the gym and go on a run. Oh, that's probably my first 10k in quite a while actually. Felt pretty tough, but I feel like that's what this is all about, like just, you know, pushing it and seeing how far I can get physically. You know, there's no tournaments for a little while, so, you know, and I've got everything here that, you know, I can recover well, I'm eating well, I'm staying in a very good hotel, very good night's sleep. You know, it's all set up for me really, to really get some positive momentum. Got great guys here to train with. So yeah, that was the first of probably many tough sessions in the gym. They'll all be a little bit different, but try and keep you updated as much as possible. Currently cramping in the right hamstring, not ideal. So go and get some electrolytes and then shower, rest, go get some more nutrition. Right, shower done. Now dinner. Yeah, let's go for dinner. How hungry are you, David?
So hungry.
Vamos. So we were very lucky that the hotel had a mall attached to it with a pretty banging restaurant that had a little bit of everything: Italian, Indian, Thai, Chinese, and it was all very good nutrition. So I hope you enjoyed the video. There's more content from Bahrain on the way, so stay tuned for that. As always, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.